was in that class one day, and I wrote, "A boy divided against himself cannot stand. I believe that I cannot forever endure half school and half free. I must be all one thing, or all the other." Of course, paraphrasing Abraham Lincoln there. And a moment later I wrote, well, okay, obviously being in school is not as bad as slavery. I'm well aware, as aware as I can be without actually experiencing anything, that I've got it pretty good. I mean, come freaking on. I'm upper middle class America. That makes me like the upper 1% of the world. Or something like that. I'm not starving. Out in Africa, or in America for that matter, because you can starve in America. I got so much on my side, and I'm grateful for it. And I don't claim any special privilege. I don't say that I should get special treatment. Fix my problems first. Fix my problems first, God. No. But I believe God is capable of fixing all problems, depending on our choices. So I had some problems. Problems which, I'll give you a little spoiler to the happy ending here, have been so much easier at college. It's so much more open and free here. Thank God. But it hurt in high school. It's hard to explain it. It's hard to tell you just how bad it was. Every year was stressful. My least stressful year was senior year. It got slightly better each year, you see. And one day, I got up from the lunch table to go, buy something or get a drink or whatever. And I suddenly had this dizzy spell. This feeling of, that was weird. And pretty soon I was in the nurse's office, lying down, feeling tremendously dizzy, and my heart was beating like crazy. And, all these weird things happened, like they gave me some cold water. I would drink the water, and suddenly I started shivering. Like my body couldn't handle the cold water. It wasn't ice in it, it was just relatively cold. But I started shivering from that. I thought maybe I had the flu or something, or some sort of weird virus that sent me home. Over the next few days, I would sleep like 16 hours a day. I would drink copious amounts of water because it seemed to help. Be properly hydrated. And sometimes I'd feel okay and I'd go to school, which really wasn't good for me. Should have stayed home more. But I'd be okay today, go to school and come back. Talking to my doctor, I didn't really know, after I became a parent, this wasn't really a virus. One day I felt a bit of heart pain, going to school. It really wasn't that bad, but, in addition to the dizziness and the heart palpitations. Sent me in the emergency room, did all these tests, found nothing. Went to a specialist, endocrinologist, found nothing. And eventually, the endocrinologist said, maybe it's just stress. That's what I've been saying! That's what I know about this specific disease. I thought it was a disease. I thought, I have an infection, I have a disorder, I have something. I didn't realize right then that was being caused by stress. I thought it was what do you call it? It's a hypothalamus disorder I thought I had, something like that. It was the best guess I could come up with. But I've been saying for years, screaming at myself, I am stressed. I'm not having fun here. And sometimes I'd have fun. There were clubs I loved. Anime club. Lifesaver. I used to just go to that club. Regardless of any homework or tests I had to do. I had to go there. I had to, because then I could have a couple of hours of just some peace. And I had friends throughout high school, of course. I had good moments, but I had so many bad moments. I've been stressed since even before the actual freshman year began. And it hurt. They tell me you gotta focus more on all the things you gotta do. I'll make it clear, I don't really blame anyone. There's no malicious intent anywhere. No. But I, in a sense, blame everyone. Like, I think we're all part of it. You know, can blame the school for being too tough. My counselor for not recommending more dropping of classes. Can blame, you know, the student body for abiding by this idea of you have to be in the top. Because I want, you know, in case you didn't know, so I went to a pretty elite high school. I could blame my parents a bit, sure. I could mainly blame myself. You know. I could have made better decisions. But we're all a part of it. All this problem that I suffered from. And you know, a lot of people, their high school isn't challenging enough. A lot of people, you know, you have a standard high school which doesn't really teach too much and you float on through, and you know, a lot of people don't go to college. Well, my high school, everyone goes to college. Which is okay in and of itself. It's not when it hurts. Let me tell you something. I took a lot of college level classes, AP, or they just call it college level sometimes. And then I got to college. And this is a nice college. You know, this isn't Harvard, but respected college. Very respected. And I'll tell you something. The college level classes at high school are far and beyond the actual college level of real college. It's easier here than it ever was in high school, you know. And people say, oh, well, then I guess high school prepared you for college. No! No, you don't get it! Yes, maybe it prepared me, to a degree. But it was so much harder than it needed to be. You know? I went through so much crap I didn't have to go through. So many times. When I just didn't feel right, you know. You might wonder if I suffered from depression or some other manner of thing. Well, 3 doctors I went to didn't know any of that. Granted, none of them were psychiatrists. Went to a counselor, of course, for stress, didn't diagnose that. I've heard someone say that depression is when you cannot remember, not physically cannot remember, but just emotionally. You cannot remember the happiness of the past, nor can you imagine happiness in the future. If that is the definition, then I certainly have never suffered from that. Because even in the worst moments, I'd had this little hope, fed by my creations, I might say. I found so much joy in writing out everything that was in my head and in my heart, you know. All these ideas. I always had this hope. Someday I was going to do something with all that. You know, and be free. So, no, I don't think I suffered from a clinical depression. I had a lot of stress, though. And I developed that stress disorder. I was telling you about those dizzy spells and all that. Yeah. So apparently my endocrinologist said apparently you have it's just been stressed this whole time. And apparently you developed some sort of thing where the stress has been building up. I mean, she didn't determine this medically. This was her best guess after every other test failed. The stress has been building up. And, you know, yeah, your body's been kind of ignoring it. You know, you've been kind of storing it back because you couldn't, like, release it all. And then it kept building and building. I felt perfectly fine that day. That day when I first had the problems. I've been feeling perfectly fine for the last few weeks. But, you know, during that whole day, I'm trying to feel fine, you know, whatever. And I get up and go, crap. I didn't actually fall out. I don't actually walk like this. But I generally walk with like a hunch. Because I want to stop my head from tilting at all. So I go kind of like this.